Hey guys, now we're gonna go to the part 2 on this project. Now that you guys already know what went on. So now let's go straight to the business here. And I'm gonna try to put in a right order, in a sequence about how everything happened, how everything went on with the upgrades and testing the car and everything that went on. So basically I decide to just completely change things around a little bit. I stopped doing my own intake manifold. I bought an intake manifold, and for some reason I just thought to start making big power, the planner was kind of small for airflow. I want something a little different, something that give me a little more confidence on the airflow. So I designed my own intake manifold from scratch. So basically got some tubes to build the runners, plan them and start cutting and building something that I think could be enough, that would give me enough airflow for the power that I wanted. And of course I would need a better bigger turbo, so probably some different coil packs, a different ignition system. So I start building and prepping everything to make a little bit more power. Once everything was already on the car, the motor was installed, all the upgrades done on the motor, turbo, intake manifold, exhaust manifold. Then it was time to start doing some bass tune so we could turn the car on and start tuning a little bit so we could go on the street and start driving and see what the car was doing. Fabio, you start doing the magic, we start upping the boost, start adding power, then we start working on doing boost by gear. So different amount of boost and power for different gears, of course due to the traction problems. That's when, in second gear, that's when we had a problem, you know, slamming the pedal down, trying to see what would be the limit of the tires. How much would the suspension tires be able to hold? How much power could we put down to the ground? So that's when I think we had a little bit, you know, a little bit over the limit. That's when all the tires start spinning in second gear around 50 miles an hour. We had so much shock and vibration from tires spinning that end up snapping the 3 bolts from the drive shaft that connects to the transfer case of the transmission. Once the bolts broke apart and the rubber dampening, what goes between the drive shaft and the transmission, it looks weird. You're gonna see the pictures. But when that happened, and when it broke the bolts from the drive shaft, the drive shaft was spinning around 7,000 RPM. That's when you start kicking around, you know, around the firewall, and broke the power steering. It broke my shifter cable. It bent one of the pipes from one of the wastegate. It smashed my O2 sensor, and you guys gonna see. That's when I decided to take the whole complete exhaust system and just do a side shooting right out of the front fender to make things easier to get things apart from under the car. Once everything was all fixed, new drive shaft back in place, back to the street, you know, doing some street tuning and upping the boost a little bit more, getting the car ready to go to the dyno. Once everything was ready and we took the car to the dyno, we did 3 pulls. We did 3 pulls, which you guys gonna see the videos. Once we did the second pull, everything was fine. Then we did 1 more pull, and then okay, now I think we're good to start adding boost. We add a couple more PSI of boost, and guess what? We lost traction on the dyno. The car would not stay on the top of the road with traction. We just exceeded the amount of power to the front wheels that the tires would be able to hold on the top of the dyno. As you guys can see on the last two pulls in the dyno, after we lost, you look like it sounds like I'm hitting a rev limiter, but that's the tires losing traction, and then you hit the rev limiter right away. So after, happened the first time, we lowered the tire pressure all the way down, and then we had the guy from the dyno that I was paying to use the dyno to spray some track glue on the tires to see if we could somehow still get some traction, but that's it. That was the limit. Then we had to final everything on the road, on the street. The dyno road would not, the tires couldn't hold it anymore. We exceeded what the rubber could hold it, and we just lost traction. Using Toyo's R888R 255 4017, running at 16 psi of air pressure, and they still spray glue on the tires, but we just maxed whatever the tires could hold on the road, power-wise. So from this point on, all we could do is log in tunes on the road, and that's when we just kept adding more power, more boost, and the car is starting to go nuts. In the middle of that process on the street, adding more boost, and the car is start pulling side to side as you keep doing pulls, I start noticing that it felt like the control arms or suspension in the front was a little loose, maybe the alignment wasn't right. That's when I decided to do my own alignment on the car, put the car on the jack stands, did my own alignment on it, which I put about 1/8 of toe in the front and 0 toe in the back, and I have 1 negative camber front and back, all 4 wheels. On that process also, we found out that the boost controller wasn't able to hold the boost steady anymore. It was fluctuating. We set for like a 32 psi, 34 psi of boost. That was spiking like 4 psi higher. You set for, let's say, 33, the boost spikes like when boost comes in and the turbo comes in so hard, and the spikes from, let's say, from 33, it jumps to 36. As let's say 6,500 RPM, and then at 7,000 it drops to like 33 again. So we need a little better boost controller. So we end up going with the CO2 air pressure, on the top of the wastegates to be able to keep the boost control, a little better, to keep the boost steady. So after adding the new control arms, so I pick up some tubular control arms, completely solid hemi joints. And also we did the CO2 boost controller, which is the gas that pressurizes the top of the wastegates, both of them. I got 2 of them on exhaust. Originally I only had 1 wastegate, as you guys are going to see on the first videos of the building the motor and the tank manifold. 1 wastegate wasn't enough either. I had to add a second wastegate. I was having a lot of boost spikes, and 1 wastegate wasn't enough to keep the flow down. So now that we have a new tubular control arms with a solid hem joints, alignment redone, just like I gave you guys this spec. We got a CO2 boost controller, and now we're gonna go back to the road to final the car. That's when we start adding a lot more boost and start making some real good numbers. And as you guys gonna see, we exceeded the limit of the 4 tires on the ground. Doing pulls in second gear at 50 miles an hour, we start losing traction on the second gear, and then shifting in third gear, we also start hitting the limits of tires traction on the ground, doing 80 miles an hour, losing traction basically. At 80 miles an hour, 7,000 RPM, we start losing traction on the 4 tires. Again, 255 wide Toyo's R888Rs. That's when we found out that's the limit. We can't add no more power. We had to put the boost down 1-2 psi and keep at a point where we're still not losing traction. Keep in mind, traction issue, tires bouncing, hopping, losing traction, causing what feels like a jackhammer underneath the car, hitting the transfer case and transmission so hard. That's what ended up snapping the 3 bolts from the drive shaft. So we didn't want that to happen again. So we ended up lowering the boost to 1-2 psi just to stay close to the limit to what the tires can take in second and third gear. So now on the final, because of course you guys already know my time here in US, in Florida, and Fabio's in Portugal times is totally different. He's 5 hours ahead of me. So he said, okay, we need to find your car, prep the car, do a full inspection, make sure everything is good to go. We're gonna final this weekend, which we set everything up for Sunday morning. Basically 5 times he said, okay, things are gonna be okay for me to start working on your car tuning. We can hit the road around 10 o'clock in the morning, Portugal time, because at 2 in the afternoon I have to pick up a friend coming from Brazil to Portugal. So I'll be available starting at 10 in the morning. We can tune the car from 10, put a couple hours and final the car. So that's when I have to be up 5 in the morning and hit the highway no later than probably 6:20. And you start tuning the car, which would be Fabio's time, almost like 11 o'clock in the morning. Remember, 2 in the afternoon, he had to pick up his friend at the airport. So that's when we did about probably 10 pulls. So I'm just gonna give you 3 full pulls so you guys get the idea, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to fit all this on one single video again. We're just gonna keep stretching this video to the limit. It's gonna be too long. People get tired to watching real long videos. So here we go. This is the last 3 pull after we final. That's when the sun starts to come up at 6 something in the morning. I don't know, 6:30. I lost track of exactly what time it was, but it was early in the morning. It was a little bit before 7 o'clock, between 6:45 maybe and 7:20, rough idea somewhere around there. So this is a wrap up for this now. Once we know the car is making the power now, everything is great, everything is beautiful. Car's been holding the power, so far we didn't break anything. Fabio did a wonderful job like always. A big thank goes to Fabio again for, you know, really helping me final this project. Of course, you know, it's not gonna stop here. I still got some more plans coming in a very, very close future, which is about maybe a couple months from now. We're gonna have another video of a lot more going on. But after this video, I'm gonna do a walk around the car. I won't be able to fit this on the same video right now, so we're gonna have a video part 3, okay, which I'll be walking around the whole car and I'll be showing you guys exactly how the car is, what parts were installed, and you guys gonna see the car inside and out, front suspension and back. So I'm gonna give you a good walk around the whole car and talking about the car a little bit. That's all gonna be in a part 3. So stay tuned. Also, it's gonna be a video that's not gonna take too long to be uploaded after this second part. It may take maybe another week or two, but we're gonna have part 3 also on the way.